Imagine this for a second. An ordinary Italian school teacher. Paper, charcoal, basic tools. But somehow, he managed to touch lives across continents. 72 countries adopted his methods. And get this, 1.5 million Italians got their basic education thanks to him. That's Alberto Manzi. It's just, well, how did he do it?
It really is incredible, isn't it? Alberto Manzi, he was so much more than just a teacher, though. I mean, he was an innovator, a captivating storyteller, and brave. He always stood up for what he believed in. And his TV show, Non è mai troppo tardi, It's Never Too Late, that's really the heart of his global fame.
I think anyone who loves Italy and its most influential figures, this one's for you. We're going deep, really deep into the life of this amazing man, Alberto Manzi. We'll uncover his humanity, that incredible journey to global recognition, and some pretty shocking moments along the way. We want to understand the man behind the legend, you know what I mean?
Right. We want to go beyond the surface. What drove his innovative spirit? What made him so inspiring, not just in Italy, but for the whole world?
Okay, so let's rewind all the way back. Alberto Manzi, he was born in Rome, November 3rd, 1924. Picture this, the historic Borgo district, right by the Vatican. His dad, Ettore Manzi, was a tram driver, pretty vital back then.
Yeah.
And his mom, Rina, or Ederina Maria Matredi, she's from Tufo in Abruzzo, and worked in the Vatican's food offices. A real Roman story, huh?
Yeah. And then things changed quite dramatically. Urban redevelopment, they were dismantling the Spina di Borgo. So the family had to move, ended up in an apartment in Piazza Bologna. And, well, that was kind of the outskirts of Rome then, a different world. When his sister was born, his mom, she dedicated herself to the kids.
Here's something interesting. Even as a kid, Alberto, he loved the sea. He joined the Balia Marineretti, like a youth group all about naval stuff. And that, believe it or not, led to his registration for naval service later on. Oh, and education. He took it seriously, graduated from the G. Carducci Magisterial Institute in Rome in 1942, got his teaching diploma.
But then, of course, World War II, it cast a shadow over everything. Manzi, he was known to be anti-fascist, which meant danger. In 1943, conscription by the Repubblica Sociale, that's the, puppet state Mussolini set up with the Germans, it was a real threat. They gave him this awful ultimatum, show up in 30 days or else.
And this is where it gets unbelievable. His father, he had quite the past, fought in World War I. Sergeant in the Palatine Guard, Red Cross volunteer on hospital trains, even a guard at the Pantheon for the Knights of Malta. So he used those connections, hid Alberto at the Order of Malta. That's how he dodged the draft, avoided who knows what. His father's compassion literally saved him.
Then June 1944, American forces arrive in Rome. Manzi takes a huge step. Volunteers for the San Marco Battalion. They were attached to the British 8th Army. Those wartime experiences, they really shaped him. But the disillusionment, it didn't break him. Instead, it fueled this drive to build a better future, and education was the key. This theme, it runs through everything he did.
It really does. I came across this anecdote. It just shows you who he was. So during recruitment and officers asking about qualifications, Manzi says, magisterial diploma. Officers, can you read? And Manzi, with this dry wit, says, no. Can you believe it? The other recruits, they're laughing. And the commander, well, he's impressed. Makes Manzi a secretary for the whole campaign. What a way to start your military service.
It's that mix, isn't it? Serious about values, but with this almost provocative humor. Later, Manzi said the war, it revealed how empty a lot of those so-called values were. This is when his desire to help young people, to fix the education system, really solidified. It was like education was the path to a fairer world.
So after all that intensity, he goes into teaching. First job, Aristide Gabelli, Re-Education and Penal Institute for minors in Rome. 4 other teachers had turned it down. That's how tough it was. But Manzi, he took it. Said a lot about his dedication.
It does. And even in this challenging environment, he starts La Tradotta, the very first prison newspaper. I mean, that's Manzi, right? He believed in communication, giving a voice to those who didn't have one.
This wasn't just a job, was it? He really wanted to change the system, make a real difference for kids. It was like a calling.
Exactly. And his talents, they went beyond the classroom. In 1948, he wins the Collodi Prize. It's for his children's novel, Gro Storia di un Castoro, Gro, Story of a Beaver. The book was translated into 28 languages. They even adapted it for radio. Manzi could connect with people, make complicated things simple. This would be so important for his teaching and later his TV work.
He was a collaborator too.
Right.
Worked with Luigi Volpicelli and Domenico Volpi on educational materials. And he wrote for the magazine Il Vittorioso alongside big names like Gianni Rodari and Giacovitti. Clearly, people in the education world, they respected him.
And in 1950, he starts teaching elementary school for Bandiera School in Rome. He stayed there until he retired. Think about how many young minds he influenced. Just incredible.
But his impact wasn't limited to Italy, not at all. In 1955, he goes to Peru to help with education and socialization programs. He was working with his cousin. This experience, it opened his eyes to different realities, to real injustice.
Absolutely. It broadened his horizons, for sure. His work with a Salesian missionary, Don Julio, in South America, that was a huge inspiration. He wrote powerful novels based on that, El Loco and La Luna nelle Baracche, which means the moon and the shanties. These books, they often reflected the struggles of those marginalized communities he met.
And we can't forget Orzoe. He published it in 1955, too. It's a children's book about a white orphan raised in an African tribe. In the 70s, they made it into a really popular TV series. This brought his storytelling to a much wider audience. Even more people knew his name.
By the 1960s, Manzi was already a well-known innovator in education, an author with a global outlook. But television, that's what launched him into international fame.
It's true. 1960, he gets chosen to host Non è mai troppo tardi. This was national television.
Yeah.
And the mission, it was huge, to fight illiteracy, which was still a major problem in Italy back then.
It was such a radical concept for its time. They were bringing elementary school lessons right into people's homes. Manzi's teaching, that's what made it work. He used simple tools, large paper blocks, charcoal, a light projector. It sounds basic now, but it was pretty innovative then. He could take something intimidating like a classroom and make it accessible, engaging, education for everyone right there on TV.
Oh, you've got to hear this story.
Yeah.
So he's auditioning for the show, right? He looks at the script they gave him and he's not impressed. So what does he do? He tears it up. And then right there, in front of the producers and some adults who, couldn't read well, he improvises a lesson. Talk about making a statement.
It was bold, but it worked. Non è mai troppo tardi. It ran for 8 years. And the impact? It's hard to grasp. An estimated 1.5 million Italians earned their elementary school certificates just by watching his show before dinner. Think how that changed their lives, their families' lives. It's a whole generation. And if you're loving these stories of Italian innovation and impact, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our Icons of Italy channel for more fascinating deep dives.
That number, it's mind-blowing. And get this, the show's format, it was so good they adapted it in 72 countries. Alberto Manzi, from an elementary school in Rome to a global education force.
Italy recognized his contribution, of course. 1961, he's awarded the Knight of Merit of the Italian Republic, a huge honor.
You'd think after the show he'd relax, enjoy his success, right? But not Manzi. He goes back to teaching at Fratelli Bandiera, back to his students, though he didn't completely disappear from the world stage.
He couldn't. Not with his passion for social justice. He stayed involved in literacy campaigns, especially in Latin America. Remember, he had those deep connections there, had seen how powerful education could be.
And then this thing happens. It really shows you his principles. 1981, Italy introduces these new evaluation cards for students. Manzi, he opposed them completely.
He just didn't believe in labeling kids. He said, I love this quote, "I cannot brand a child with a judgment because they change, they are in motion. If next year someone were to read the judgment I gave this year, we would have branded them for the years to come."
He saw potential in every student,
He refused to use the cards, and guess what? They suspended him, stopped his pay. Can you imagine sticking to his beliefs like that? What happened then? Was there like a public outcry or something?
It became a big deal. The Ministry of Public Education, they were pressuring him, but Manzi, he wouldn't budge. Finally, he offers a solution. He'll give all his students the same evaluation, one simple phrase: does what he can, what he cannot, does not do.
Yeah.
He believed in effort, in recognizing limits, but no harsh judgments. And get this, the ministry didn't like that he was using a stamp for it. And Manzi, he says, fine, I'll write it by hand for every single student. Dedication like that, it's inspiring.
Even after that fight, Manzi keeps going. In 1992, he's back on Rai with a new show. It was called Italiano per gli extracomunitari, Italian for non-EU citizens. He was teaching immigrants Italian. Always about empowering people, right?
And then a surprise. In his later years, 1995 to 1997, he's the mayor of Pitigliano, a town in Tuscany. Shows you he wasn't just about education, he cared about his community, wanted to serve.
Sadly, Alberto Manzi passed away in Pitigliano December 4th, 1997. But his legacy, it's still so strong.
It really is. His archive, it's amazing. All his writings, his thoughts, everything is at the Emilia-Romagna region headquarters, open to the public. This is a treasure trove. It shows you his wide range of interests, how ahead of his time he was.
And there are schools named after him all over Italy. Even a variable star discovered by the Bassano-Bresciano Observatory, they named it AMOABB3 using his initials. Talk about a fitting tribute.
I love that. There's a mural in Tuffo di Carcelloli too. And this year, 2024, for his 100th birthday, Italy issued a commemorative stamp. He's not forgotten, that's for sure. And hey, if you're fascinated by these amazing Italians and their stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our Icons of Italy channel for more.
What I find so interesting about Manzi's teaching is how well he understood kids. He believed in play, not just for fun, but for learning, for development. He saw it as a way of thinking.
He had this great example. A kid once told him there were 21 vocal cords, like the letters of the alphabet. Most teachers would just correct them, right? But Manzi, he brings a violin to class, shows how 4 strings can make all these sounds. Just depends how you play them. It's about making it real, making them understand.
Exactly. He knew that intelligence, it's not fixed. It grows when you experience things. And he was always creating those experiences for his students.
And his commitment to social justice, it was unwavering. His work in Latin America, it's incredible. He secretly taught literacy to indigenous populations, the ones who were being exploited. He put himself at risk for that. It wasn't just teaching, it was empowerment.
That part of his story, it's almost shocking, right? He was arrested, even tortured for trying to help these communities. But he kept going, teaching in secret during his summer breaks from Italy, right up until 1984. Amazing.
And get this, his methods were so successful, so well known, that in 1987, the Argentinian government, they asked him to help develop a national literacy plan based on his ideas. That says it all, right?
So when we look back at Alberto Manzi's life, what stands out? His compassion, his fight for justice, his incredible teaching, and his global impact. It's quite a legacy.
It really is. What about you? What resonates with you most about Manzi, his dedication, his spirit?
I think it's his belief that everyone has potential, no matter where they come from, what their situation is. He saw education as the key to unlocking that potential, to setting people free.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Alberto Manzi's life, I want to leave you with a thought. He believed so strongly in education, in the power of each person. How can that inspire us today in how we learn, how we see ourselves in the world? Maybe his ideas, they hold some answers we can use in our own lives and our communities, something to think about.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos.